John Horrigan from Cara Mobility Design. Welcome to IrishStartUpTV.
Thanks, Richard.
So tell us a little bit about, firstly, we're in a lovely old Georgian house up here on James's Street.
Yeah, well, it's great being up here. We were formerly based down in the National College of Art and Design campus proper, but in the last month or so we've moved up here to, I suppose, it's probably a nicer space. Large studio here which we share with OBO, our neighbours. So loving it so far, great environment.
Super. So tell us a little bit about your own background.
So I'm a product designer. I graduated from the National College of Art and Design in 2011, and then I went on to do work with a furniture designer in Denmark. When I came back from Denmark with some new experience, I linked up with the National College of Art and Design to develop my degree project, to commercialise it basically for the market, and that's what I've been doing since. And that was the basis of Cara Mobility Design.
So you had a product that you were working on as part of your degree?
Yeah, so I had an idea. Well, I suppose a concept. We developed kind of an advanced concept level. So from there on, you have to kind of, I suppose, do all the engineering work and the commercialization work to actually get it to the market. There's a long road after you have the initial idea, you know.
You're a product design company and you're pre-trading, so we're going to be a little bit circumspect about how we discuss the product.
Of course.
But can we talk about it in broad terms?
Yeah, well, I suppose
what's the problem
broadly speaking,
it's
what we do here at Cara Mobility Design is we like to empower people with disabilities essentially to enhance their everyday. So our first product is a wheelchair accessory, and this product is a wheelchair mount for manually propelled wheelchairs, and it carries various different types of technologies such as iPads, smartphones, cameras, and lots of other things. It also has a strong health benefit for the wheelchair user, in that it acts as a stabilizer, and it's a product that helps wheelchair users reach further with confidence, among other things. Again, it's patent protected, so I can't speak too much about it now, but it has two clear advantages for the wheelchair user, in that it holds technology for them, and also it's kind of a health benefit as well.
Well, I can empathise that. Working in the I suppose videography space, I have a lot of equipment, a smartphone, and I have tripods and cameras and lights and the whole shebang, and it can be very, very awkward yomping them about the place. So
well, I suppose
it must be all the more challenging when somebody is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the problem. I suppose, how do you hold anything if both your hands are engaged turning wheels? You know, that's really the problem that we're trying to address. When both hands are occupied in such a manner, like essentially your arms are your legs. How do you hold your smartphone? How do you hold an umbrella? How do you hold anything securely? You know, so
these are challenges that you and I don't have to worry about.
No,
but they are very real challenges for a large population.
Definitely, and that's what our research shows. So we use a lot of user first design principles. We do a lot of first-hand user research, and we have a kind of an empathetic approach to really kind of get to the crux of people with disabilities, what the real problems are in their lives, to try and kind of answer those problems with very, very appropriate designs, I suppose, to really get kind of drill down to the crux of the issue.
Copenhagen, I visited earlier this year. It's an incredible place from an engineering point of view, and also from a design point of view. I don't know if people are aware of the great connection it has with Malmo and therefore with Ericsson. So there's a huge engineering base there, a huge design base. Everyone knows Danish design.
Yeah.
So why did you come back to Ireland, to leave Denmark to come back to Ireland, and why mobility products rather than furniture or engineering?
Yeah, it's a good question.
That's a different tech.
Well, I suppose I kind of got as much out of the Danish experience as I wanted. You're right when you say Denmark is completely steeped in design culture. Every household is aware of design and the power of good design. So I really kind of, I wanted to kind of engage with that and to feel what that was like. And the company I worked for are very prominent in Denmark, so it's a quite prestigious company to work for, and I learned an awful lot. But I guess the reason why I came back was because the opportunity to develop this product for the market was something that was close to my own heart, and you know, it was an ambition that I had to kind of sort of see out.
And where did this come from?
It's sort of I suppose it comes from a personal place, kind of a personal ambition to help people through my kind of design skills, if at all possible. So yeah, it's really quite a personal thing.
So you were a product designer. Did you, like, what inspired that journey? You know, you found yourself becoming a product designer, or you always wanted to be a product designer?
Well, I always kind of, I suppose, like meddling with things, like enjoyed making things, a lot of drawing, loved the creative process. So you know, art and design is always a part of my life. So I did study architecture for a few years in UCD, then took a couple of years out and came back to study in the NCAD, studied industrial design or product design as it's more commonly known. So it's always been, I suppose, a feature of my life. I suppose it's nice that what you're interested in your sort of personal life kind of links up with your kind of professional life. So I suppose that makes sense for me. You know,
I think product design, like, it's something that personally I've become exposed to as a result of working in technology. But in the abstract, I was kind of aware of it, but I didn't really know about it. So did you find a similar scenario if you came to it a little bit later in life? How did you come to product design?
Yeah, well, I was always aware of the National College of Art and Design and all of the courses they offered. I suppose initially, actually, I was interested in car design and I wanted to be a car designer.
Really?
That was actually one of the reasons why I started product design. You know, maybe with a view to maybe going into that industry. But I suppose going through the course, I found myself more and more doing projects which had a very kind of a human-centered approach, which were these sort of products that could kind of help people in their everyday lives. So
what inspired that? Was there any catalyst, an experience in your personal life, or was it a function of the way the course was run?
I can't say there's any sort of personal catalyst.
Because you mentioned very strongly that you wanted to do more with your design skills and just design things. You wanted to actually make a difference to people.
Yeah, I felt like, I really feel like, you know, these kind of projects where you're helping people are more fulfilling. It's different from sort of doing a kind of an aesthetic piece like a nice table or a nice chair, or even working on a car. It's you know, you are giving back, you are kind of contributing, and you are creating something of value. But I think there's a higher value there, and that's sort of what I want to be engaged with, design with a higher value. I don't really know where it comes from. I couldn't say.
Yeah, it's very cool. I can see some of the drawings in the background, and suffice to say, it looks like there's going to be a really, really revolutionary product there. It's very exciting to see that.
Yeah, and we do at the same time. We do, like Dyson, I suppose, who create sort of very novel and standout products in the kind of the general consumer market. We would like to bring that, I suppose, to the mobility and disability kind of industry.
You mentioned that earlier, just to really call that out explicitly. You want to be the Dyson of the mobility world.
Yeah,
it's a really nice ambition.
Yeah. Well, we want to kind of, I suppose, follow up with this, our first product, with a whole range of different products. I suppose we're working on an IV stand, which is a drip stand. We're working on a new crutch design. We're working on a little navigator project for people with dementia. We're working on a wheelchair hoist. We're working, you know, with 4 or 5 products in the pipeline.
Oh, nice.
And
so that's why it's Cara mobility design. It's very much a whole suite of products on the way.
Yes, of course, and then even more accessories to actually link in with our first product, which is the wheelchair mount. There'll be different attachments for that will help people do different things, different jobs.
As you mentioned off camera, Cara mobility design, friendly mobility design. I think it's really nice.
Yeah, well, Cara being the Irish word for friend, I suppose. Yeah, it's got a nice ring to it. It's a soft sounding word, and it's again, don't know where that came from, but it seems to work, and we'll run with it and see.
Super.
Yeah.
So what's next? You're pre-trading at the moment. You're in the design. You're patent pending on a couple of things.
Yeah, we have to do the kind of final engineering work on our first product, and then we have to get it onto the market. So we have to generate some revenues to get it there. So we'll.
So how does that process work? Is it a bit chicken and egg?
Well, it's I suppose it's kind of it's a steep learning curve, and it's a path that we can kind of constantly kind of sort of walking down and trying to finding my way. We're putting together kind of a investor prospectus at the moment to show what we're doing currently, and also what we intend to do, sort of to entice investment. We were looking at probably angel investment or VCs, venture capitalists, along with probably some Enterprise Ireland support to raise the necessary revenues to bring this product to market. And
so what will the money be used for? Will it be for production?
Production costs, yeah, and also some of it will be pumped back into future research and design of our follow products, and general operational costs.
Going back to that product to market piece, what's involved for you? Do you have to go and find a factory somewhere, or will you build yourself, or how does that work? Or do you build a prototype and then you work backwards from that?
There's a number of different routes. Like we can set up all of the production ourselves by sort of essentially subcontracting a manufacturer to build all the parts and assemble and to ship it out for us, or we can have a number of manufacturers assembling different parts and then assemble it in another place.
Okay.
Or you can license the technology to a third party company who will build and sell it for you. So there's different approaches to get this to market. We would like to think that we'd love to maintain control of this ourselves, the quality control, and to manufacture it ourselves, so go through the whole process and not license to a third party, because you lose sometimes a lot of the control over the design.
And on that note, on the QA, what kind of regulatory impediments do you face?
Well, because this is a product for the mobility industry, it's different from general consumer goods. There's a lot of engagement with the HPRA, which is the Health Products Regulatory Authority, formerly the Irish Medical Board.
Okay, that's just for Ireland.
That's an Irish institution. The HPRA can issue a certificate called the CE mark, a certificate which allows anybody who has acquired that mark to sell within Europe.
Okay.
If you want to enter the North American markets, you have to apply for a separate certification.
And would there be parallels if you get one? Is it
the NDA, the North American certification is deemed to be harder to acquire. They're more stringent. Not to say that the CE marking is sort of flawed by any means, but it's, I suppose, if you have to see, you've got a stronger chance of getting the NDA, and that's generally the progression for companies. They'll maybe sell in Ireland, then to UK, then into the continental Europe, and then on to North America for the largest market, so that's how we see our sort of our story fleshing out.
It's great too from a regulatory point of view. A lot of companies can fall at that hurdle, but from your point of view, once you crack it in Ireland, it opens up the entire European market. Yeah,
it's great, and I suppose this being a product for a kind of a niche market, we need to focus on exports. There's not enough of a market here alone to have a very strong business, so we need to look quickly at the UK and then France, Germany, and some of the larger quite affluent markets on the continent.
So on the note of the market, who do you see your customer as? Would it be a health authority or an individual or a combination?
There's different market opportunities for us, I suppose. Well, we can sell hopefully into the HSE and then into the NHS, which is the equivalent of the HSE in the UK, and then the equivalents on the continent. So that's one sort of customer for us, and that's a very big one if we can kind of tap into it. But again, very competitive space, and cost is the major factor there. So you have to get your cost level down to a point where you're cheaper than the rest. Whether we can do that or not, I don't know. It's a compromise. Then
sometimes cheap isn't always best as well.
Yeah, other opportunities would be for us to sell into private hospitals such as the Beacon here in Dublin, into mobility retailers, a lot of pharmacies such as Lloyd's.
There's quite a number of routes to market. Yeah. So you can go down the kind of the authority route, or you can go down the direct to market route.
Yes, and then
or both.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we probably will do both eventually, but we'll have to focus on, I suppose, one route to start with, just to kind of try and generate our first sales, and that's the kind of work I'm engaged in at the moment. And I think that our first customers will be mobility retailers, also the likes of the Irish Wheelchair Association and Enable Ireland and the National Rehabilitation Hospital have been all very supportive with the work we've done on our first product to date, and they've Enable Ireland has a retail sort of arm to its operations, and they said they'd carry our first product for us, so that's
fantastic.
One customer kind of straight off the bat.
That's great validation.
Yeah,
well.
Exactly. And this is the kind of product that needs validation, word of mouth, in order to kind of in order for it to work really. It's completely different from as a general consumer product, but.
It sounds like you're making great progress, and like all great startups, you're running a number of things in parallel, and it sounds like you're getting great traction with those strands, especially the IBYE.
We had a boot camp in Druids Glen last month. It was brilliant. There was a really high energy and really positive, and I suppose you kind of, everybody says it, but it's very true. You get a sense of that you're not alone on this path, and so people struggling just as much as you are. Like,
we talked to Liz from Moby earlier. That I think, I sometimes find that it can sometimes feel like Dublin is separated by the Sahara Desert, whereas in reality it's only a Dublin bike down the Keys. Or she made a great point that there's a lot of great networking events, so go out there and get involved with these things. And
it's essential to be involved. Like, I mean, actually I met a guy at the event, a guy called Robert Fenton, who's got a...
Oh, I know Rob.
From the Guinness Enterprise Centre.
Yeah, I just bumped into him in Dundrum the other day, actually.
And he has some software actually that could work quite nicely with our product in order to kind of oversee the regulatory process.
Yeah, and he's also just gone down the route again to the US. Actually, I connected with some guys over there.
Yeah.
Purely just to kind of get the lie of the ground, but also on what will be most interesting for you is his experience of bringing a medical product to the US.
Yeah, it's great, and like, I mean, these are the kind of opportunities that you kind of encounter when you kind of put yourself about, and you like, I mean, I'm constantly looking for sort of different competitions I can enter and different ways of raising funding, and also to as you say, exposure. It's so important at this stage and at every stage, but you really have to keep your ears to the ground and keep looking, keep networking, keep trying to grow, and that's
sage
what we do.
Sage advice.
Yeah,
John, thanks so much. I'm really excited to see what happens next. Fantastic.
Okay.
John, thanks so much.